Hey, everybody, welcome back. I hope you are well. So, what are we doing here today? Well, it is the end of September, and seeing as how it's the end of September, that means I have to give you my monthly totals of what I worked on for September. And those totals go into this video, which is hashtag craft yourself free. And if you are new here and you do not know what hashtag craft yourself free is, well, then you need to go check out my yarny friends, Sam over at Memphis Makes and Christina over at Bella Uncinetto. They came up with this brilliant idea, even though there are a lot of content creators out there and other people who do things their own way with trying to keep track of things that they're using, and they have goals to use certain things in their stash. They decided that hashtag craft yourself free would be something that was easy for anyone to do. You're not limited to whether it's new yarn, old yarn, anything like that. You're not limited to whether it's crochet or knitting. If it's a hobby and you consider it a hobby or crafting, anything goes. Puzzle making, baking, painting, anything where you are being creative and you are using your things, that goes into the category of hashtag craft yourself free. When they came up with this idea, I thought it was brilliant. I have old stash of yarn, I have new stash of yarn, and Lord only knows I will end up with probably more new, but I didn't want to be limited with what yarns or anything else I was able to use and count out of all of my crafting supplies. And so when they came up with this brilliant idea at the beginning of the year, I thought it was wonderful and I wanted to join in. And that way I could keep track of my monthly totals and see how much of my craft stash I'm using. So far, everything I've used this year, if I remember correctly, has been yarn and crochet related. But we never know. That could change next month. Because you guys know I love to do other things, but I have been undertaking some very large projects. So, without further ado, let's see what I did for September. And I think September is probably one of my lower totaled months. I would have to check. But I'm also working on a project that is a big undertaking and it requires a lot of daily attention. And so larger projects have not been getting worked on as much and so therefore aren't finished. So let's see what I got done for September. Well, you guys know I am doing the 100 Days of Halloween, and we are making a blanket with 100 squares for the 100 days. Even though the blanket isn't done, I have been weighing my squares in batches of 10, and because have required a lot of work. And by the end of that and the join, I'll know what the squares weighed, and then once we have the finished blanket, I'll be able to weigh it and see what the difference is with, all of the square totals and then anything over and above, which would be what was added new. So far this month I did, because we had 30 days, I did 30 squares. And some of them have been added into the blanket, some of them are in a box. And if you want to see a recap of those squares that have been going on this month, I think I got to upload the next video for the 10 we just finished. Um and you'll be able to see a recap of those, some of which, like I said, are in the blanket, some of them are not. So for the 30 squares, the first 10 days, my 10 squares equaled 8.96 ounces. And the second set of 10 was 8.61 ounces. And then the last set of 10 that finished up for the last day of September today was 7.87 ounces. And that totaled for all 30 days, 30 squares, 25.44 ounces. So that was a lot of yarn weight. And if I didn't have part of them sewn into the blanket, and if you guys are new here and you haven't seen, this is the squares that I'm talking about right here that are being added into my 100 Days of Halloween blanket as I go. So, and if you want to see that, come back tomorrow for day 71 for the 100 Days of Halloween, or go back and look at the last 70. So, anyways, so then um, the other, the next thing that one of the projects I finished was I was making along with Laura over at Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming for the Wednesday Wipeout. And that has since ended. And we only had 2 dishcloths left for her to choose from. And then we were going to be done with the whole book because we had been working on it for a year. So in September, I finished the ruffled square dishcloth, which was 1.02 ounces. And then I did 2 of the candy corn dishcloth. One of them was 0.99 ounces and one was 0.95 ounces. I don't know why one was a lot. Maybe I crocheted looser. I don't know. But I don't have the dishcloths because they have been given away. So that was 3 more projects. And then in the midst of all this, I had spoke with my sister. She was needing some chemo caps. And so I decided I was going to try and get as many done as I could um, while right before I was going up. And then I also worked on them in the car while I was going. And I ended up getting 5 of them done. And I told her that if she didn't like any of the colors or the style, or it just didn't fit comfortable on her head, then she could donate them to the ones she didn't want to where she goes for treatment. So the first 3 caps, chemo caps that I made was with the Connie Sleep Cap. And this is from, what's it called? Is it Leesa's? Trying to see if there's something bigger. I'm having major problems with my eyes, guys. So it's Leesa's Knotty Corner. Knotty as in Knotty. And this is the Connie Sleep Cap. Sorry, it's not in color. I had to print it at the library because my laptop is still not talking to my printer. It's a super cute chemo cap. It's got a little bit of texture in it. And the first one that I did, and I used all Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton. The first one that I did was in the colorway, and it was very fitting for my sister, called Spunky. And it was this very neutral color with some speckles of orange, light blue, and like a lighter brown and a little bit of darker brown. And the Spunky, since it's a print, is 3 ounces or 85 grams, 153 yards, 140 meters, and it's 100% cotton. For that cap, it weighed in at 2.47 ounces. So that was cap number 1. And this is all that was left of that cap. And then for the second cap, I used the same pattern. I did the first 3 in this one, and then I switched it up to the other one I'll show you. And if anybody needs to make any chemo caps or some lightweight caps, and you want the information for these caps, I'll put it in the description box so that you can find them. Okay, so the second one is from the colorway Bruschetta from the Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton, 100% cotton. And because it's the solids, it's 3.5 ounces or 100 grams, 180 yards or 165 meters. For that cap, the cap weighed in at 2.34 ounces, and this is what was left of that ball, which isn't a whole lot. I need to ball it up, honestly. And then for the third cap, which was the same pattern, because I wanted a little bit of texture and everything. I know my sister's kind of a neutrals kind of girl. And I used the color pewter in the Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton, and it's the same stats as the bruschetta. And that hat weighed in at 2.30 ounces. So that was that color. I really do need to ball these up. And then for the fourth and fifth cap, I went by the same pattern designer, which is Leesa's Knotty Corner, and it is called the Simple Sleep Cap. The other one was the Connie Sleep Cap. This one's a simple. It really doesn't have the texture that the other one did, but it turned out really, really pretty in a neutral kind of way. And I know how my sister is, so I wanted to give her a couple choices with some different colors and everything. And I do intend on making some more. And whatever she's not going to use, I told her to go ahead. After I send them, she can take them over to where she's getting treatment. So the first one in that hat pattern, I picked the color purple. And it's a deeper, very grapey, almost dark plum purple, and it's the same stats as the other 2 solids, and that hat weighed in at 2.05 ounces. They were a little lighter because they don't have the texture in them, so, but it turned out super cute. I really liked them, and so did she, when she tried them on. And then, for the last one in that same pattern, I chose the color deep teal, and this is all that was left of that one. And that hat weighed in at 2.02 ounces. So my totals, with all being said and done for all of those, that was the only projects I had completed. I still do have some Amis on the hook that are not done. So they're not being counted, of course. And then, of course, I have my Decade Diva project that I can't show and I can't talk about. So that will be, and I plan on putting a little bitty tweak on it in October so that it will still count for October totals because I couldn't show you and I couldn't talk about it. So, but you will be seeing that on October 7th. So yes. All right, what were my totals? So with the 30 Halloween squares, the 3 dishcloths, and the 5 chemo caps all together, my total in ounces was 38.63. And if you convert that to grams, it was 1095.15 grams. And that equates to 2.42 pounds. So I almost used 2.5 pounds of yarn in everything that I made, the 6-inch by 6-inch squares with appliques, etc., 3 dishcloths, and 5 chemo caps, which isn't too bad, but it's one of my lower months. But I've had a lot going on with some pretty big projects. So yeah. So hopefully next month's total will be a lot bigger. Yeah, I'm hoping so. So yeah. So, anyways, that is that for hashtag craft yourself free. And if you want to join in, as Sam and Christina say, it's never too late. And it's not a competition. You're not winning any prizes. It's kind of a way to keep yourself in check and track the amount of crafting supplies out of your stash, whether it be yarn, glue, paper, um, any of that stuff, paint. And that way you know what you're using and you can kind of see what you're using month to month. And yeah, I can't wait to see my end of year totals. If you haven't heard of Christine over at Bella Uncinetto and Sam over at Memphis Mix, because I do have some new people here, and I'm not sure if you guys know these ladies. I love them. You will love them too. They will be linked in the description box as always when it comes to Craft Yourself Free. Go check them out, please. And yeah, give them some love over there. And if you want to join in on the hashtag craft yourself free, feel free. I think it's a lot of fun and I love seeing everybody's totals at the end of the month. So I guess with that, I'm going to let you guys go. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 71 of the 100 Days of Halloween. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Love y'all. Talk to you soon.